You're joining this demo of Mysocket. In this demo, we're going to talk about multi-region load balancing. Obviously, a lot of you have probably heard of the recent outages in the various cloud providers, and these things happen. So what we really need is a global load balancer that sits all around the world and takes your traffic and figures out which of your origin regions is healthy. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, and how you can use Mysocket. In previous blogs, we talked a lot about the tunnel services that we provide and how you can make origins available, whether they sit behind NAT or strict firewalls. But in this one, we're going to talk a little bit about the various load balancing options, and how we can use those to deploy a multi-region or even a multi-cloud environment. So these are the three types of load balancers that Mysocket can help with. So the first one is an application load balancer, which is your typical layer 7 HTTP, HTTPS-based load balancer, which is what we'll use in this demo. But we also have the network load balancer, which is a layer 4 TCP-based load balancer. And with that, you can get your dedicated name and IP address and a port number. So you can have many origins, but they will only have one dedicated name and port number. And the TLS load balancer is a variation of that, which is almost the same, but it provides, instead of raw TCP sockets, raw TLS sockets. So a TLS version of the network load balancer, which provides encryption. All right, so back to what we're going to build. So today we're going to build a multi-region setup for your application in just 2 minutes. And we're going to use infrastructure as code to do that. What we're going to use is Terraform to spin up 2 VMs in 2 data centers, so 4 in total, 2 in New York, 2 in Toronto. After we use Terraform, we ask it to execute some cloud init commands or tasks, essentially, which will bootstrap the system and download our Giphy app that we'll continue to build on, and also make sure that the system calls home to the Mysocket service, registers itself as an origin server, and from there on, the load balancing can begin. All right, so enough talking, let's start building. So we're going to start with a Terraform apply. So what you see here is essentially the 4 VMs that are being built. And while that's building, let's take a look at what that actually looks like. So you can follow along at the github.com/mysocket.io. I've created an example folder, and this is the blog for today. So this is the Terraform file. Basically, we're telling it to build 2 VMs in New York, in this case, of this Ubuntu type, Ubuntu 2004, the type of VM. And we pass along some user data, which is the cloud init file. We'll take a look at that. So we do that for both New York and Toronto. So now let's take a look at the cloud init file. So the cloud init file, you'll have to modify slightly for your own use, but that's basically a set of tasks that the VM provider will execute as the VM is booting up. So we're asking it to create a user called Mysocket, and we're also writing some files to it. So I'm using this to write some secrets to disk. So I want to make sure that we have the Mysocket username and password so that we can log into the service, the Mysocket ID, and the Giphy key for our Giphy app, as well as our key file that we need to use to start the service. And then finally, we download a bootstrap script, and from there on, we should all be ready to go. So let's take a quick look. It looks like the services, or at least the servers, have come up. So that took about 40 seconds or so, and then it typically takes another minute for the services to bootstrap itself. Well, let's take a quick look if the services are running. Okay, there we go. So I can see that we're now having multiple services here. So let's look at what that looks like. There we go. So I now have the Mysocket GIF generator generating multiple GIFs. But what's different here is that the first line of each output, it shows me the server that we're hitting. So every time I refresh this, I see a different server, right? So 000 in New York, 001 or 0 in Toronto. So let's take a quick look in how the load balancing looks like. So I'm gonna request here 20 requests for the same URL. I'd like to, and I'm going to print which server is hitting. So as you can see here, it's load balancing over all the origins. So all of them got 6, except for this one in Toronto, it got 2. Let's do this one more time. Yeah, here, now we can see some nice evenly load balancing. 5 requests over all 4 servers. So this is how the load balancing works. So that looks great. Should one of the origins become unavailable, it can either automatically deregister itself to gracefully move traffic away, or the Mysocket service will detect that the services become unavailable and start load balancing over the remaining origin servers. So that's our quick demo for today. Hopefully this was interesting. So we showed you how you can quickly deploy 4 application servers in 2 different regions and then use Mysocket as a global load balancer to help you load balance over these multiple regions. I hope that was useful. If you have any questions or feedback, just send me an email, leave them as a comment in our blog or under this YouTube video. Thank you.